today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming pattern. There is a storm in the later long range that I'm kind of watching that I'm a little bit concerned about to potentially be our round 3 of major severe weather. It is taking place in a location that's a little bit alarming, as well as having temperature patterns that are favorable for thunderstorm development. Very, very bad look. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but we're really just going to roll through the whole pattern and go over everything you might need to know. For the southeast here, and quite a bit of the mid-Atlantic as well, we had that cold front roll through yesterday. It's a cold 52.5 degrees outside in Virginia right now at noontime. That's a far stretch, just very far difference from what we've seen. It was usually about 80s plus the last couple of days here in Virginia, so definitely a huge swing of temperatures, and there's precipitation in the area as well, which is making things feel even colder here. We can see that this storminess is really leading towards impacts here for the Gulf, the southeast, all of these areas really seeing these terrible, just dreary conditions. But at least it's not dangerous weather, I guess. That's the good news there. This does kind of move out by the time we're taking a look at about Easter morning. We can see that a lot of this is still lingering near the immediate southeast coast. There is a slight, very weak low that wants to develop here, but we're not seeing it too much there, and that kind of innocently slides off. We get very quiet here for early next week. You can see there's hardly anything, and I'm sure after what we've dealt with, a lot of people are very happy about this. Still a little bit of some cooler air able to work its way in to the east here. And I would say the majority of the warmth here is happening for around the Rockies into the Central Plains. There is a little bit of some colder air able to kind of work its way into the Northwest. So the definitely peak of that warmth is happening across the middle of the nation. Now, as we keep going with this, towards about Tuesday afternoon, this is going to be April 12th, we can see that there is a low developing here. And there is some slight concern that this could be a tropical, some sort of tropical development here. So we're going to be watching that one closely, as well as this activity up there in the Northwest. We just have plenty of this going on as well. As we reach towards Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening here, we can see that low actually does develop, and this is somewhat tropical looking in nature. So we're going to be watching for some potential flooding and weaker winds along this kind of Gulf Coast of Florida, that is, into the coast of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana there. That's going to be Wednesday into Thursday. And this does move up into the southeast, bringing some precipitation by Friday, the 14th here. This low has kind of broken up, but we can see that this is bringing some heavy rainfall for these areas, a lot of moisture in general. And it is also associated now with some warmer conditions, because we're seeing a lot of warm surging here for a lot of the east as this next storm system has kind of moved in. And this is kind of an alarming look that I was talking about, how we've seen this low move into this eastern Colorado region, because this is where both of our most recent severe weather outbreaks started, with something like this. Very similar if you guys have been keeping up to date. And this one develops. The good news is that it heads straight north, and this kind of alleviates a little bit of that potential. But we can see a little bit of a cold front developing here on the front of everything. And we can see some warm air surging, and then cold air trying to hit it from the side. So if anything, we need to watch if this moves around at all or trends in a different direction. But we would be watching probably this corridor here for the most of that severe weather if this did occur like this. But this is still about 9 days out, so certainly we still have a long way to go. We can see that this low is very weak by this point, but we can see that there is a bit of a warm front and a cold front dynamic here as that warm air is surging. You don't need a strong low for these major severe weather events, so we're still going to be watching this very closely. And this is a little bit more concerning because we do see it all the way from the Gulf Coast up to the Canadian border. So this would be a very far stretching severe weather outbreak if it did look like this. In fact, this is one model run, but we're going to need to watch it over the coming days and see what we see really trending in. As we take a look at this total precipitation, we can see that storm moves into the northwest there, and we can also see that this storminess associated with this not only tropical low, but also the stationary front that we have in place right now as we speak. That is going to lead towards above average amounts of precipitation from Texas all the way through the Gulf, the southeast, and into Virginia. There we're going to see some pretty major precipitation over the next 10 days. Total snowfall here, as you can see, We do actually get quite a bit out west still. I'm actually surprised by this because we're getting later into April here at the end of this model run, so certainly becoming more and more surprising with how much snow we're still seeing. Definitely not out of the water yet for these areas here, as you can see, for the next 10 days at least, and it can't even be ruled out beyond this because that is historically possible. So in a severe snow season like this one, we just have to watch and see. So again, we do upload every single day. You're going to want to check in on those daily updates because we always go over this. As we take a look at the GFS, I just want to roll through with this. First off, we get this tropical system, and in typical GFS kind of fashion, we see this develop into what looks like a pretty strong either tropical or subtropical depression or storm here and hit Louisiana. You're going to want to take that one with a grain of salt because this storm wants to pull severe, or anything severe weather like major snowstorms, severe weather events, hurricanes. It's just coming up with this stuff out of nowhere. We can see that this does move up into the southeast and mid-Atlantic actually in similar fashion. It kind of does a little twist here and then wants to move up like this, whereas the European, which I'll put in a different color, I'll put it in yellow here, kind of just develops and then heads like this. But it's the same idea. They head generally in the same direction. It's just a lot happens in between that is different, as you can see. We do get this stronger low also developing in eastern Colorado here on this model as well, the GFS. We do see this one move into a more concerning corridor as it moves up into the upper Midwest here. As you can see, bringing with this warm front some wintry precipitation, and underneath we see this cold front with this warm air surging. So we see this kind of same look we just saw a few days ago, and this is not a good look. So we're going to be watching that closely for Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame, maybe even Monday here for the East Coast. As you can see, as that low strengthens quite a bit, we do see this cold front still extending down underneath, bringing that thunderstorm activity there to the eastern seaboard. After that, we're left with a little bit of some colder air, as you can see on this GFS model. Pretty classic ridge in the west, trough in the east look. Not any way around this really. This is just what we're seeing. So if this type of a pattern occurred, we would see again more March-like weather even in late April. So things could look pretty dreary moving forward. Let's see what this European ensemble model has to say about this. This is our temperature ensemble model. We can see that we do get colder temperatures all the way up until about midweek, maybe Wednesday, Thursday time frame. We get these warm temperatures returning to the east here, and this frame is about the peak of it, where we see just this trough in the west, ridge in the east look all around, as you can see. And this would lead towards much more May, June type weather in April again, maybe 70s and 80s in the east quite a bit. That is going to be around that Saturday, Sunday time frame. But as you can see, we're left with cold air after that, just like we saw in the GFS model. But I will say here, I don't know why that keeps popping up. Let me try to get rid of this. So yes, I do have a Mac now, by the way, as you guys can tell. We do see more cold temperatures here in the west, really, than the east, and this is another case where I'm kind of torn because we usually don't see cold from coast to coast, and that is what this is showing. It is an ensemble model with multiple members, and in this type of a scenario, especially this far out, 360 hours, which I think translates to about 15 days, I usually want to say that this is going to go either way. Not both, though. That is usually how we look at this. So the long range is still up in the air if that cold will be centered over the west or over the east. Only time we'll be able to tell for that, and we are going to track this daily. So be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to also like that video and enjoy. Leave a comment down below. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, see you guys in the next video.